This video is part of the GiantLeap project. How to install OpenSUSE Leap 15.1 to make a x2go file and web server. Why make a cloud server out of a physical box? Think about control. You can point to your data. Look, it's right there in that little box. It's not floating around someplace on the internet. We're going to install from a USB flash drive. The files for the install come from OpenSUSE, and we're going to put one more partition out there with install leap 151.zip file. That's our secret sauce. The computer we're going to use today is a ThinkCentre Teeny. Could be just about any computer. We're going to reset the BIOS. We want this thing to be a known clean state at the start. When you try to boot, it should say no operating system. That's true. Empty, clean, ready to go. Now we're going to boot from the flash drive and choose installation. On the licensing screen, we're going to say English is okay, and we're going to agree to the license. Hardwired is the way to go, but today we're going to go through the wireless configuration just for the heck of it. Make sure you only configure one network connection. If you go with wireless, you're going to need the SSID and password key for the local wireless network. We're going to have to enter the IP address for our new server. The network admin will tell you what that is. We're also going to fill in the host name. We're going to fill in the host name again for some reason, and then I'm going to give a name server of 8.8.8.8 that lets me use Google name services for internet connections. We're going to put the IP address of the router. Again, a setting comes from the local area network admin, who will tell you what's the IP address of the router. The system will notice that we have a network connection. Do we want to activate online repositories? Nope. Our system role is just going to be generic desktop. In the partitioning, we're going to choose guided setup. We have something to do. We don't care about disk encryption. We're going to skip that. We're going to choose the old ext4 file system. We don't need a separate swap area. It's only one disk drive. So our suggested partitioning is going to be fairly simple. A couple of partitions on the first hard drive. We're going to fill in the time, and probably it's okay, press next. We're going to skip user creation. The script will take care of making a bunch of users for us. We're going to set the root password. Got to remember that one, baby. That's an important one to have. In the security, we're going to start the SSH service, and we're going to open up the SSH port. We're also going to switch the network configuration to wicked. That's better for wired systems. You get a chance to review the system, and we're going to tell it to install, and then we're going to tell it to install, and it's going to take off and run for about 10 minutes before the system reboots. When it reboots, we can log in as root with that password that we remembered from before. We remembered, didn't we? We're going to press mouse 2 and choose xterm just to get to a shell. In the shell, we're going to type in these commands to make a directory for install, copy a file onto it, and eventually we're going to run the install script. And that's GiantLeap.exe install. When you click on that, it's going to take off and run. It's going to do lots of stuff. This was where all the work of the project is, right there. When it's done, you should see a list of users on your screen, and we can type in exit and get out of there. We're going to reboot the system, and now we're going to go into the BIOS, and we're going to tell it The only thing you can boot from is the SATA drive. No USB booting allowed. System should boot now, and you could do whatever you want. You could start the web services if you wanted to, just for something to do. Here's the web services monitor startup screen. Your users are all ready to connect. Now you have a secure shell-based remote desktop server running a business database application.
My name is Mike Galitz. Email mikeg@giantdatabase.com.